Here are today's news, and now I'll proceed to the details. Military Command of the Tigray Defense Forces issued a statement earlier today where it said they have continued to successfully defend the 39 days long ongoing full-fledged offensive launched by the allied Ethiopian and Eritrean forces in multiple fronts. According to the statement, more than 5 infantry divisions of the Eritrean forces alongside its mechanized forces attempted to enter into Magala through the Barahle front, which was successfully neutralized by Tigrayan forces. On a second attempt to capture the town of Shire, more than 18 infantry divisions, 2 mechanized divisions, 1 battalion of commando forces of the NDF, alongside thousands of Amhara militia, Fano, and special forces attacked on the Tselimoy front in northwestern Tigray. Other forces trying to break into Shire by the Adarkai front were also successfully neutralized. The military command also added that the Allied forces continue to attack Tigray through the southern and Adiabo fronts. On Tuesday, Eritrean forces conducted consecutive aerial attacks in the town of Adadaro, located in northwestern Tigray, that killed dozens of civilians and left many more injured. We have obtained a footage from the area where the victims described their despair. Let's take a look.
ገባር ገዛ ብስረይተው ሳይ ወሪ ገባር ገዛ ንዝዓይ ብላ ከባቢና ተጋደልት የብሎ ከባቢና ናይ ስራሕ መንግስት የለ ናይ ድርጅት የለ በቃ ናይ ገባር ንገባር ዘለገበት ገዛውት ስራሕ ሰላም ያደር ያ አምራ ቢላና እንታ ገርና ንሕና እንታ ደቀ ፈይራይዎ ማብስሩ እንታ ደቀይ እንታ ይጉድ እንታ በርደኻ ሰብ ተፈጢሮ ምስር ዘምሰብ ዚ ምስድራ ከምዚ ደም ዝነብሩ ገዛ ሒዘም ስድራ ደለዎ ምስሩ እንታ ገርና ንሕና እንታ ገርና አው ገዛና መንበር ክንሰን ስርና በገጥና ክንሰወር እንትምሰብ
ودود بلامد زي تعمد حرور شاودي نيو كوفي عايزين كده ما فيك غزا بنا ستنا
لما أنت تروح يكون نقرن بعلت 10 سلسة أب السلام وابوتا أبيت مرت قنبلاتات حليبيو أبيت مرتنا عيار طلعت فصيمية دوجيمو لو ما عندي المبلك على أجزاء أو كتم عدد عرو تطلعت فصيمو زلماتي.
On Friday, Salsai Wayana Tigray, an opposition party, issued a statement condemning the recent aerial attacks conducted by Air Force in the town of Adadaro. The statement also says that the act takes us 25 years back, where Eritrean forces bombarded Eider Elementary School in Magala and killed dozens of civilians, including children. The statement adds that the perpetrators of the continuous attacks on the civilians need to be held accountable. Meanwhile, United Eritreans for Justice issued a statement yesterday condemning the continuous bombardments by the Eritrean Air Force on civilians in Adaro that took the lives of dozens of civilians. The statement finally extends its condolences to the victims of the airstrike that lost their families and loved ones. The international community, including the European Union and the United Nations, has condemned the indiscriminate shelling on civilians and called the deteriorating of humanitarian situation in Tigray alarming. The United Nations strongly condemned the indiscriminate shelling and called for disengagement of regional actors from the war on Tigray. The European Union, on its part, said that it's alarmed that the humanitarian operating environment continued to deteriorate and called for an unfettered access to humanitarian organizations in the region. Saron Tsagai reports.
The international community has yet again condemned the continuation of hostilities and indiscriminate shelling of cities in Tigray. In a press briefing on September 30, spokesperson for the United Nations Secretary General Stefan Dujarric said that the Secretary General is deeply concerned of the indiscriminate shelling and civilian casualties in Tigray, and that the continuation of hostilities further jeopardize the peaceful resolution. He said that the war on Tigray is worsening the humanitarian situation inside as aid is unable to reach the region due to the continuation of hostilities.
The Secretary General is deeply concerned over reports of indiscriminate shelling and civilian casualties in the ongoing conflict in Ethiopia. He underlines that a sustainable peace cannot be found through military action. The Secretary General further notes that the continuation of the conflict jeopardizes the safety of civilians, the delivery of much-needed humanitarian assistance, and the stability of the broader Horn of Africa region. He reiterates his call for an immediate cessation of hostilities, the disengagement of regional countries from the conflict, and for the parties to move forward with the African Union-led mediation process as a sign of urgency.
Janis Lenarsis, Commissioner for Crisis Management in European Union, on his part expressed the EU's concern on the deterioration of the humanitarian operating environment in the northern Ethiopia since the resumption of hostilities in August of 2022. The Commissioner also noted that the renewal of fighting is severely hampering humanitarian aid delivery as supply of humanitarian commodities, fuel, and cash availability are still totally blocked for Tigray. The European Union strongly condemned the violation of humanitarian law in Tigray and called on all parties to grant unhindered access to humanitarian organizations. It also urged to immediately end hostilities and reach a negotiated and permanent ceasefire.
In a related news, in an interview with a Center for Strategic and International Studies, Regional Director of East Africa's World Food Program, Michael Dunford, said that access to humanitarian support to Tigray has been discontinued due to the resumption of hostilities. The director said that WFP is currently unable to send convoys to Tigray, as well as distribute even the available aid to the people in need due to the blockade of fuel from entering the region. During the event, Abdullah Boros, senior advocate for East Africa at Refugees International, on his part said that the Ethiopian government has used a slow-burning tactic to deny people food as a weapon of war for the past 2 years. Let's take a look.
We're not moving any trucks in presently. We have no fuel that has arrived since the 24th. Currently, the only distributions ongoing is food that was already in place. Fuel is being rationed. Our staff have not been able to come out or new staff go in since the 24th of August. So many staff now have been in far in excess of what was planned. Some need to come out for medical reasons. Others simply need a rest, and we want to be able to rotate. The flights that we were using in and out on UNHAS, they're suspended currently. So all of these elements are prohibiting the ability of the international community to respond to the immediate needs. And Abdullahi had already touched on it. We've got huge levels of food insecurity. 89% of the population, 5.2 million people we estimate, have limited food capacity. Over 40% of them are acutely food insecure. So there's a real need for the offensive to end, the fighting to stop, and a humanitarian truce and a corridor be re-established so that the World Food Programme and others can upscale to the extent required.
You have food that is ever so closer to people, but it's not delivered to people who are in desperate need of it not because the food is not available, not because the expertise are lacking, but because of, a slow banning tactic from the Ethiopian authorities, federal authorities, to deny these people food. It's been 2 years now, right? I mean, like this November will be 2 years. So that makes it very difficult.
As the country continues to be engulfed in violence, protesters called for the downfall of Abiy Ahmed were held in the streets of Addis Ababa in the midst of Irecha celebrations. In the first day of the 2 days long celebration, Oromo youths gathered in the capital and demanded Abiy Ahmed step down. Let's take a look at the footage. Women and children in Tigray are among the most affected members of the community as the ongoing siege continues to block basic necessities such as food and medication. Our reporters spoke with Birzaf Aragawi, a 9 months pregnant woman, where she says her pregnancy has become difficult for her as she is unable to get the antenatal care she needs. Winta Kirana has more.
Birzaf Aragawi is a 24-year-old mother from Kafta Hamara of Western Tigray. She left her home in November of 2020. She says she witnessed horrible atrocities on her journey to Mekelle by Eritrean soldiers and Amhara militia.
I left home with empty hands. I went to Tsalimo where my father lives. Amhara militia and Eritrean forces tortured us brutally to hand over our father, saying he was a militia. We had to go hiding in the woods just to save our lives, but many were killed, and women and girls as young as 8 were raped. It was a horrible act to witness.
Birzaf says she got separated with her brothers in Tsalimo, and ever since she is unable to get in touch with them due to the total communications blackout.
My brother stayed in Tsalimo when I decided to travel to my mom's house in housing, and I couldn't reach them out due to the telecommunications blackout, and I'm worried. I have no relatives or anyone to offer me help here, and it's really hard for me to live here alone.
Birzaf adds that she really is worried about the day she will give birth, as the total blockade make it impossible to access food, medication, and medical supplies.
I have no idea when exactly I will have the labor, and there's no transportation service in this camp, and I can't afford to take a private taxi. Moreover, there is no medication or medical supplies due to the blockade. Last time I went to the hospital, and the doctors told me to prepare 10 gloves for my labor because they're out of medical supplies. They want to help me, but they don't know how to do it without gloves. There is no bright side to giving birth this time.
Birzaf also says that she really feels hopeless that she's about to bring a child to the world where she can't even provide him something to eat.
It really bothers me when I think about my pregnancy or the day I will give birth, because one way or another it is bound to happen, and I'm really scared how it will turn out. Since I don't have anything to eat, I sometimes feel hopeless that I'm about to bring another child to this world where I can't even provide him something to eat. It's just sad.
Birzaf says so far she hasn't been able to get any aid for her pregnancy period, and she finds it extremely difficult to live in her condition as it kept on declining.
There's no aid provided for pregnant women. We just wait the little aid that comes every 3 or 4 months like the others here. Even though my problems are much more than the others, I hope that the world will hear this and help us get the basics we need, like the medication and food.
And that's the news for now. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.